So welcome to the next edition of In Conversation With. I'm Matthew Wallace, and I'm delighted this evening to be joined by our captain at the moment, Marc Williams. Marc, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. What do you mean at the moment? Is it coming off me? I've seen Jamie Veal have it in a photo on his Facebook. I think he got given it in the TNS game when I went off, so he's bragging about it. So maybe you know something I don't.
I apologise. I promise it wasn't mentioned by Gavin off camera. I promise. No. First of all, how's lockdown keep treating you?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously with I run a sports business, so we're actually not in the schools at the moment. But the last 2 weeks, we're fortunate to run half-term camp, so it was actually quite nice to get to a bit of normality regarding children playing sports, being active, with just keeping fit, ready to go again next week.
And as you said there, with your sports camp as well at the moment, there must be a huge importance on what you're doing as well with children's mental health and well-being. So crucial at the moment. So getting guys like you in there is absolutely important at the moment.
It is, yeah, and that's what's so difficult with us not being able to go into the schools, because obviously we can't link all the years together in school time yet. At half terms we can, so it is a little bit frustrating, but to see the kids, like I said, that normality of laughing, you'd almost, they're keeping active, they're almost away from what's going on in the real world. And last week it was quite nice to see that. You think as adults how difficult it is, this situation. You kind of almost forget what the children are going through, and especially with what, like, the regulations we had to put in place last week. And they do great. It's amazing what kids can do, and they're very resilient. So yeah, fair play, because like I said, it's difficult for adults at the moment, let alone the children.
And from an Aberystwyth perspective, it's almost quite disappointing we had the lockdown, really, because we've just come on for some really good results and some really good performances as well.
Yeah, and then the fixtures have changed, haven't they? So our next 4 fixtures, we've got TNS Bala, Connors Key again. So we had a couple of games which were going to be that middle class, your Carnarvons, your Penabonts, and I think after the way the lads felt after obviously the 2-2 of TNS, and we had a good result against Druids. So it was kind of, we were almost ready to kick on. I think we've learned so much so quickly. The 9 games we have let Leeds slip. Cardiff met. Newtown 86th minute. Barry being 1-0, then down to 10, and that has been difficult. But at the same time, I think you learn so much from them type of results. And what surprised me, what I was more pleased with as captain was how the lads stuck together and really stayed upbeat when I've been in other change rooms that could easily have gone the other way when we lose to Barry, but we recovered well. We got a good win at Druids. Obviously disappointed with the Bala result, but at times I think they're a very physical Bala, but we played some good stuff on the day. We did create our own chances, and it wasn't the worst performance. And then obviously the TNS. So I don't think we're a million miles away. I think there's lots of positives so far this year, and I think if we can get back to it and carry the confidence from the TNS game, we can be a match for anyone on our day.
And I'm not meaning to be insulting now, but at 32, you're almost a bit of an elder statesman, almost, in this squad at the moment. What's it like being the experienced head in quite a young dressing room at the moment?
Yeah, it's I am the oldest. Sometimes I don't think I act the oldest. I think
you're quite glad that John Foligno's come in.
Yeah, I was glad he came in. So at least when we're on Strava, there's someone that will run slower than me. But no, it's I as captain as well, I've kind of this year taken a role where I want to help the younger ones, and I enjoy that side of it. We've got a lot of young talent, and especially when you see the lads, when you look at players like Jamie Veal, I know he's still 24. For me, there's no reason why he can't play higher. Technically, I think he's very good, and I enjoy playing with him. And your younger players like your Jack Remy, your Harry Rose, they've almost waited for this chance at Aberystwyth. They've been patient with it. They've gone away, they've come back, and I just think there's that togetherness at the minute. The locals, that what they bring. I think the Johnny Evans and this Steph Davis story is brilliant. At their age to come back in, and you know, when you're watching how they've performed this year, fair play to them. You almost look at it thinking, why haven't they been playing Welsh Prem the last few years? So, you know, everyone's done really well. And like I said, I enjoy the role of being a little bit older and, you know, kind of, you know, helping them along. And, you know, if I can do that throughout the rest of the season and the next few years, you know, I'll be pleased with that.
You can even hear from your answers now, you see how passionate and enthusiastic you are for this club as well, which from our perspective is fantastic as well. So thank you very much for that.
No, yeah, do you know what? A lot of people always ask me why, you know, the journey and traveling 2 hours 15 there and back, and you know, it is that, you know, 5 hours, 4.5 hours on a Tuesday and the same on a Friday. But I'm very, you know, it's happened in the past with clubs. If I feel not good at a club and I feel welcome, then I can just be myself and, you know, express myself on the pitch without that added pressure. You know, that means more to me than almost whether I'm traveling or not. So, you know, in the summer I had offers to play on my doorstep and, you know, 5 minutes around the corner. But I want to feel good in a football club, and, you know, I enjoy, you know, I think there's a good community around Aberystwyth, you know, the volunteers, and, you know, there's a good feeling this year, especially in terms of now as the squad, there does seem to be a good vibe. So, you know, we're just looking forward to getting back, and hopefully we can build on, you know, what's been a good start, but it could have been better, as we know from the results we've let slip.
So let's take you right back now to when you were a young lad. What was your first influence in football? Who were your big like heroes and idols growing up?
Well, it started very young. Obviously, I mean, me and Mike, obviously my brother, which we've kind of mirrored each other's career. Really, we've played lots of similar clubs. I've tried to get him out of it, but his hips are worse than mine, so he's closer to retirement. But yeah, just young growing up. You know, we played locally at, you know, for Colwyn Bay it was, and you know, we had a lot of influence. You know, Dave Lloyd was the main coach around. He was amazing, really, growing up, learning all the things. Then we got scouted by Wrexham. So I was at Wrexham from 8 to 16, obviously, and left school and then became a YTS there. So, but growing up and football wise, you know, I loved watching Paul Scholes. You know, it was more, I had all the DVDs and, well, videos.
Yeah, I know, we're showing our age.
I had all the videos of the United goals, and so as being a Man United fan, so, you know, it was that York and Cole and, you know, Scholes, Giggs, Beckham. And
what a team that 99-2000 team was, isn't it?
Amazing. It's quite sad, actually, following United at the moment, and they're 2-1 down at half time now. So, but yeah, watching that type of football, and like I say, watching them strike you, then you're Eric Cantona's, and, you know, I mean, one of my nicknames growing up was actually Sparky from Marc Hughes. I used to score the odd bicycle kick like him, and it kind of stuck for a few years. So yeah, it's they'd be more the United teams really growing up. I mean, as I got older, you know, I like one of my favorite. I think we did it at the start of the season when we had a team building exercise, your favorite player, and I think if I was to pick one as a number 10 as well, it would have to be Dennis Bergkamp. So
what a player.
I just love watching him. And then, like, the goal against Newcastle, the Leicester, where he brings it down, cuts in. He just made football look easy. And I think you almost look at players in your position. And as a number 10 myself, it's, you know, you do appreciate that type of player.
A fantastic, and what a player Dennis Bergkamp was as well. I have to say, I second that as well. As you said, he left school 15 years old and went to become youth team contract at Wrexham. What was that like as a 16-year-old coming through the ranks at a very reputable football club, a fantastic football club as well?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was lucky enough, I think, because my brother was the year above, and then I was in around the youth team when I was still in year 11. So when I was 15, so I had, it was called day release at the time. Doesn't sound too good, does it? But I had day release from school. So I was going in training, and, you know, so I was training all day on a Thursday, and then I was, you know, in the youth team on the Saturday. So actual making the step to full time, although it was training every day, that was the difference in terms of what I was to expect, and, you know, being involved in it. I'd already had a taste of it. I guess it was just then you've left school, you've left that, your mates sort of thing, and it was almost that start of your job then as a your aim to become a professional footballer, and you're training every day. You can see the first team pitch, so that's your aim, isn't it? You're over here, and you want to make your way over there. So yeah, and there were moments. It's very daunting when you're around professionals. I remember when we used to do our initiation song, and you're in your boxes, you've got your cone on your head, you've got a mop, and all the first team are giving you jibs. So, the moments that they're funny, you look back and, they build you into that, you've got to almost pass these little tests, and, you've got to have a certain character to get through that as a YTS. I don't think it's as bad as it was back then. But, you learn your trade almost, and you respected the older pros, and you respected what they gave, and you listened to them, and like I say, your aim was to get over there with them.
And as you say there, Wrexham, fantastic club, and you were probably you were still there when they were in the Football League, and I'm right in thinking you made your debut in League 2 against Rushden and Diamonds.
Yeah, 17. It was quite bizarre, really, because I'd been over with the first team training, but I was still a second year YT, so I hadn't quite, there was another lad in my age who had them. He just went every day, whereas the other lads, we kind of used to, the assistant at the time, Kev Russell, used to come in and just, go, you're with me, you're with me, you're with me. So it was kind of, you used to wait, and on a Thursday, it was practice match day, so if you got the nod, we used to sometimes, if the squad had been depleted a bit, a few of the youth players would go across, and really that was expected. Maybe you might go on a Thursday, Friday, you wouldn't go over. So I'd been over, done things and that, and then it got to, I remember playing in December, we played Southampton in the Youth Cup, actually. Bale played on the night, and a McGoldrick who scored 4 on the night. He was at Sheffield United now, so I remember having a really good game, to the point where Brian Flynn texted Steve Weaver, had said, Mark Williams, I'm going to put him in the Welsh, was it night? Yeah, I was 16, straight into the 19s. I'm going to put him in the 17s and the 19s. And then they said how, Dennis Smith was really impressed. And then all of a sudden it went from me being a YT youth team player, I was going over a bit more for the first team. And then when we got into the January, pulled me over on the Thursday. Then I went over on the Friday. I thought, on the Friday, and did his 2 11s, and I was in the starting 11. I was almost like, is he mixed the teams? Do you know, when you're trying to read into the team, I thought, well, I wouldn't start because I'm not normally over here. And I certainly wouldn't go straight into the 11 with John Walters at front next to me. So, but yeah, I was in, and it was a great experience. We actually won 2-0 on the day. I hit the crossbar with my left foot, which I remember. It'd be nice to have gone in, but yeah, it was a good experience. And then I trained with them every day. Then it was almost like, I had done well against Southampton in the Youth Cup. I'd scored the hat-trick the round before, and and then Dennis Smith felt it was time to go over there and train with them every day. So yeah, it was almost like that dream of watching for 2 years and youth team, playing reserve team football, doing all your jobs, learning your trade, and then you're over there with them. So it was good.
What a fantastic way of actually hearing this, still coaches out there who value the youth team and value that progression and that pathway up to the first team as well.
Yeah, Wrexham was phenomenal for that. There was 4 or 5 that made their way through, and that Simon Spender, Matty Doan, who's actually gone to play for Barnsley, Rochdale, made a good career. Obviously, there was me and Mike that came through. So yeah, they Levi Mackin. There was always players coming through, and young talent, and a lot of them lads have been in the Welsh system as well, and they're known for producing, coming through the ranks. It's a little, I know that it's still running, I think, as a centre of excellence now, but when you used to turn up to that Colliers Park, I know they've redone it for the FAW, but I think Wrexham train in a separate place now. But when you turned up at Colliers Park and all the pitches and the training ground, the gym, you used to have breakfast there if you wanted lunch, the physio setup, it looked like it used to attract players like as if we were a Championship League One club. That's how good it was. And when I look back now, I don't think I realised how good it was when you were in it.
Yeah.
Now I come away from it, you really look at it and think, wow, Wrexham did at that time in League. Well, they were in League One before the money situation, but they really did, have it all really. And it's a shame that they are still, they're still in the conference trying to fight their way back into league football.
You had a couple of good seasons at Wrexham, with 08-09 being probably your best season. What are some of your highlights of your time at Wrexham?
Yeah, I'd say that was, my season under Dean Saunders was one that I'll never forget. And the irony of it now, it's almost like I get reminded weekly of it, because on the Twitter, I think it's 10, 11 years, but there's a Wrexham page that retweet everything, and it's a goal every week, and it's almost bringing it back of how good I was that year. It's been my best year by a country mile, and I think I scored 17 and 21 before I broke my foot. And January came, I had offers to go higher, and you never know what might have happened if I did go, or and you never know what's around the corner. But I do look back at that, and I just love that season. It's almost like when Dean Saunders came in, he turned me from a number 10 that linked up the play, who would nick goals and score some goals but create more, to doing that but a goal scorer. And that was just through pure confidence, working with me on the training ground. And some of the shooting sessions that he used to do were amazing. And it's funny now, I take that into my one-to-one coaching, and when I do all the techniques of where to kick a ball, how to kick a ball, and you've got parents, and I've never seen it done like this. It's amazing watching it, and you can just see the results. And it is from what I learned from Dean Saunders, which what was amazing. But he really helped me that year, and I loved playing under him in that year. And it was a shame that the injury came when it did. Second in the table, 2 points off Burton, and I broke my metatarsal, and I think we ended up finishing 11th. So, but it was just one of them seasons. I was scoring winning goals every other weekend. I had hat tricks, and I didn't play with any fear. I just loved being out there. I didn't think about it. I just played. Whereas, later on in my career, I have worried about not scoring. I have let things affect me, but yeah, I loved that season. If I could go back, I'd love to relive that one again. Yeah.
Once you after that season, then you went to Kidderminster Harriers on loan, and was a permanent switch you made there as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I came back after my break, and I'd rolled my ligament straight away in the pre-season. I missed another chunk, and then I came back. I did my other foot ligament, came back, and then I broke the foot again. So, and then the year after that, I went on loan to Kidderminster. By the time I'd missed another year, there was lots of strikers coming in, which, you expect. You can't wait until you're fully fit, can they, your managers? And when I came back, it was almost like I had to prove my fitness. So I went out to get games at Kidderminster, and I really enjoyed it. But, I almost felt when I came back that, not in a bad way to Saunders or anyone like that. I think he'd implemented what he wanted. He had his squad, and I just think I didn't fit in that anymore for him. And I couldn't have done any more to get in the team. I scored 2 hat tricks on the bounce on a Wednesday, one against Rochdale, one against Bury, and I still couldn't get on the bench. And it was almost like I knew then my time was up. I was playing well. I was doing everything in training. I felt fit again, and half of me just wanted to kind of pull Dean Saunders and say, can you not see the player that the one that you had, that you used to rave about week in, week out? And I don't know, I just, from being out for that long, I just didn't get that shot. And then on my actual last Wrexham performance, we played Luton, and because we had them in the playoffs on the Tuesday, we played the reserves on the Saturday, and we actually drew 1-1, and I rolled my ligaments in the 70th minute, but I played really well for the 70 minutes. And on the Sunday, he actually said, how is it? And I just said, oh, it's a 5 or 6 weeker again. And he's like, oh, I was going to play you Tuesday in the playoffs.
Oh.
I hadn't played for the last few months. Whether he would have, I don't know. I just, the fact that my last performance ended with an ankle ligament damage, although, I played really well, it was kind of like, it's time to move on. I've lived in that physio room for years. I've had, a lot of down times. And, you know, I always look at Wrexham's results now, and, you know, being there since I was 8, but, you know, I didn't really, I wanted that another shot to get back to the form that I'd got. And when I was back to full fitness, I just don't think I got that shot, which was, that was my only disappointment and regret, really. I wish I got given that chance again.
So how was it? We got such a close connection with Wrexham. That how was it taking that divide? Because you spent a season at Chester as well.
Well, and it's one thing you grow, especially with Joey Jones. You know, I've known Joey years, and it was almost that, you know, Chester's that way. And when I was at Wrexham, you know, you really feel that. I mean, the derby games we used to have, and and then obviously went into the first team, and then you see the Wrexham Chester, the rivalry between the fans. So you shouldn't really make the switch across the border. I think because I had gone to Kidderminster, I was getting played out of position, and I didn't really enjoy it, if I'm being honest. I enjoyed going on loan, and when I got there, I started playing left coming in, but that became that I was running that way with a fullback more than being in my predominantly number 10 position, and then things started happening with me and Steve Bear, and in the end I just said, well, don't play me there then, I don't want to play. And it kind of got a bit funny, and then in the end I left in the January, and Chester were on the up then. There was 3,000 fans every week. They had a really good team, and I was living in Shrewsbury at the time, and I just thought, you know, do I go to Chester? And I did. I mean, I had to deactivate my Facebook account. I had to go and hide under a few rocks, but it was, I understand, and I can understand if Wrexham fans were annoyed, and I get that, and I'd been at Wrexham, but it became a point where I was trying to rediscover my career, and, you know, and also you got bills to pay, you got your family, and sometimes it's not about everything else around you. Sometimes you got to look at yourself and think, you know, it was the right move at the time, you know, for me, like I say, for my family and things like that. And, you know, I really enjoyed being at Chester, and funnily enough, the fans were great as well. So it was, you know, I don't think there's, when I see Wrexham fans in chat now, they're nice, and I don't think there's any, I think they're all right.
No blood there.
Yeah, they've calmed down.
So you had a brief spell with Northwich, but then you went into went home really, went to Colwyn Bay for a while. So what was it like playing for your hometown club?
Yeah, well, when I left Chester, I had a month really, and I knew I was going to go to Colwyn Bay because I'd spoke to Frank. I played with Frank at Wrexham, and it was time then. I was at 25, so I went to Northwich for a month. I think I scored 9 goals or something. I should have stayed there. I could have had a great record. And then, so I always knew that was to get my fitness ready to go to Colwyn Bay. And I really enjoyed playing for Colwyn Bay. It was Conference North, so it was only 1 league below Wrexham. I think I had accepted the fact then that, you know, I was going to be a part-time footballer. I'd had so many injuries, you know, that everyday training was just too much for my feet. You know, I'd had lots of work, you know, I'd had lots of tests and things with my feet, and I had orthotics in, I have to strap them up. So, you know, I knew, and that's when I set up my own business. So I knew I had to do something else. And, you know, like I said, there's no Colwyn Bay on my doorstep, Conference North, only a league below. And, you know, I had a lot of respect for Frank when he played for Wrexham, and, you know, he's very passionate, and, you know, he's a born winner really. And you know, I've got that ingrained in me. So I knew it'd fit well. And I really enjoyed playing for Colwyn Bay. And, we were unlucky one year. We were near the playoffs, and, you know, for Colwyn Bay, hometown, and you're near the playoffs to possibly go into the conference would have been amazing. But, you know, the year after didn't quite go to plan. Got injured again. Frank got sacked in the January, and we got relegated on the last day. I think I missed 10, 15 games. I got back for the last 10. We won 6, drew 1, and lost 3, but we were a point down in the end. So yeah, and then obviously dropping the level, a new manager came in, and I just felt like with Frank had gone, and his direction was a little bit different. It was all these pay cuts, everything was going on, and I just knew it was time for something different. And then that's when the Welsh leagues. That's when I, you know, went to Llandudno.
And as I said, it's not a particularly far journey from Llandudno to Colwyn Bay, so it's you have to move particularly far for training sessions.
No, it was like I said, I knew then I was part-time and local, and I just, at that point, I wanted to enjoy my football, which, the first year in Llandudno was amazing, and, not just on the field, winning Welsh Prem Player of the Year, but, off the field, the squad and how everyone got on, and it almost made me fall back in love with football. I loved it. I loved the journey. We loved playing in South Wales, because we could all have a drink on the way home, and we were just telling the driver to go round again, go round again. We just didn't want it to. It was like we beat Port Albert 4-1, and everyone, and you don't forget moments like that, and you don't forget friendships that you make along the way, and and that togetherness off the field, it was then evident on the field, and we were going to the likes of Connors Key, beating them 3-2. Aberystwyth, who were formidable at the time, we went there, beat them 4-3, and there was that. Even when we were losing, we always knew we could do it together, and to finish third that year was amazing. And obviously we then went to Sweden for the Europa League, which was a great experience, and is in my bedroom on the wall. So I get reminded of that every day.
Fair enough. That was going to be my next question, actually. It's like, how, like, from a team promoted to the Welsh Premier League, first season in Welsh Premier League, finishing third, which is almost like every Welsh, like even the teams that are in Welsh Premier League at the moment, to hit that top four is dream come true territory, isn't it?
And if you look, if after 6 games, because I always say this story, we were bottom of the table after 6 games, struggling. We'd lost 2-0 to Haverfordwest, got on the coach, everyone's miserable, but it was supposed to be where we do all our initiations, and Alan Morgan just got on the coach. He was like, right, this is the end of this now. We're going to put it right next week. He goes, everyone, go into Tesco, get what you want, buy what you want. We're going to have a good journey home. And I remember, and it was like, you're half expecting this is going to be a quiet journey now.
Yeah.
The bottom of the league. We just 2-0 to Haverfordwest. And it wasn't. Everyone did their song, good laugh. Again, that togetherness. All of a sudden, we just went on a run. So there was lots more. There was lots more drinking on the way home after then. But it just worked, and it was so enjoyable. It really was. I really enjoyed it.
What's your stand-up memory of Gothenburg and going out to Sweden?
My standout, and it was, we were in the tunnel. There's actually a video of it. When we were lining up to go out, I mean, it sounded more than what there was. I mean, I know they could hold more. I think there was but there was 10 to 12,000. I think we were hoping for about 20, but you take your 10 to 12. But the noise sounded like there was 20, 30,000. And the video, even now, if I played it genuinely sends tingles down your neck, because Gothenburg have got a song that they sing. And I think they have the younger kids on one end of the stadium, the older one, and they sing to each other.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, well, but the noise of what it does. And so as we were lining up, obviously you've got Gothenburg's team, which you're already nervous. There was players, when we did our analysis of the game, you're reading where they've played Champions League, and you're thinking, all right, this is good.
You're looking at ours going, we played.
Yeah, well, it's funny because in the local paper on the day, it actually said something like Team of Blueberries or something they called us. And then they had all our pictures and then our jobs. So it just, and it is a bit surreal, I guess. You got part-time, you had barmen, you had teachers, and, we're going up against them. But lining up, and then it started going, the music, and then they're singing to each other. And my whole body just took this. And, a lot of the lads spoke about it, so I think it did it to us all, but it was like you walked out, and it was sunny at the time. It had a bit of rain. The surface looked unbelievable. You had your fans there. The stadium was amazing. That was singing. And it was just like, if you could bottle up a moment, it was that. And you're walking out, ready to play in the Europa League. But that noise, and it was brilliant. That was my memory. I mean, the night out wasn't bad either.
Quite expensive to imagine in Sweden.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
That's probably not the only occasion you've had in the big games. You've obviously been capped Wales 17s, 19s, and 21s. What memories have you got of those international camps?
I got really good memories, from all of them really. 17s, I was, played in the Milk Cup twice. in Northern Ireland, great experience. And then, I remember playing in the qualifiers. We played Holland, Turkey, and Armenia. We had to beat Armenia to get through to the next round, but we needed a result to go our way. I actually scored the winner as the header, and at that point we were going through and we were all celebrating. Meanwhile, I think Holland drew to Turkey and they went through, and they scored goals 17 level and 19s. Same again. Trying to think where we went 19s. Not Czech. We played Czech Republic. We had a trip to Germany, and I'm trying to think where the qualifiers were. Luxembourg, the qualifiers were. And that was another good tournament. So yeah, it's like, just traveling around the world representing your country, it doesn't get better. And then from doing well at them levels to get into the 21 squads, and then it becomes almost real, doesn't it? You're meeting players like, you got Jack Collison, Andy King, Ramsey, Joe Allen, Gunter, Neil Taylor, and that you look at them where they've gone on to now, which is amazing. But I could see that happening, with what Brian Flynn did over them 3 age groups, and seeing Ramsey as a young lad and just being how he was, it was amazing to watch. And I was playing for Wrexham, I was doing well for Wrexham, to get in them squads and there was 4 strikers: Simon Church, Chad, Vokesy, and me, and it, to get that chance, and and that's when I was playing well for Wrexham, and I didn't feel like I wasn't good enough to be there. I was, like I said, I took my confidence from Wrexham there. I enjoyed being there. You're traveling around the world, and yeah, it was great. And then we played Hungary away, and then Hal Robson Canu played up front with him that day, and it's just, when you see what they've gone on to do, and that it's amazing that so many of the squad have gone on. And sometimes I just wish little moments of, if I hadn't got injured and maybe I'd made that step a little bit higher. You just never know what would have happened. But yeah, it was great playing. And players like watching how well Joe Allen's done, because he was I always spoke a lot with Joe, and he came to Wrexham on loan, and then to see how well he's done, because he was a young lad not getting in the Swansea team, came on loan, went back, got into Swansea, and he's been one of Wales's best players, hasn't he? So
absolutely,
the last 10 years. So yeah, it's nice that I can say I've been I've played with them players, I've been in the same dressing room, and that's nice, and it's an experience you never forget, is it?
Absolutely not. And as I said, there, playing with almost the core of that 2016 Wales team, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like watching the Euros, and when you think it, I remember, I think we were watching one of the games, me and my brother, and Mike's 21s just before my year. I was in and out of them squads, but he played he got 14 Welsh caps for that team, and the majority of the team that had played, Mike said all that, they were in the team. So I think that just shows how well the structure of Welsh football, and credit to, I know he's not involved in it now, but Brian Flynn did so well with how he nursed players like Joe Allen and Ramsey, and moved them up, Dale, and that moved them up at the right time, brought them back down. And he, as a mentor and as a coach, he's probably feels really good for what he brought to Welsh football.
Absolutely,
yeah. It was good.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more with that, I'll be completely honest. And we're going back to the structure now, and you left Llandudno and went to Bangor for 6 months before joining us. What was Bangor City like? I have to bring it up.
It was the most craziest 6 months, I think, of my life, in a weird way. It was, we trained in Chester, we trained in Holywell, we trained in Bangor, we trained in Wrexham. We had 2 or 3 different physios. We had all these players that were, had played Welsh Prem, had been all put together, like, well, these are going to win the league. But then we became everyone else's scalp, didn't we? Yeah. Everyone turned up against us, and we had a sluggish start, to be honest. After we started well the first game, 5-1. You're thinking, oh, this is going to be easy, but it got a few results went our way, and went against us, and then it became a little bit tough. But it was amazing how it changed, and all of a sudden we started to create a good little group, and the lads started getting on, and we started winning. And I'm not saying we would have caught Airbus because they were well in front, but we had to play them again. We were on a good run ourselves, and it settled nicely, and I started really enjoying my football, and to the point where, when obviously the situation of not being paid, although on record, we have been paid now, and before I obviously had to make a move to Aber, I remember standing in the kitchen with my ex-partner at the time, and I just said, can I not just stay? And she was like, well, you need to get paid. And I was like, but I'm enjoying it. And as I spoke earlier on in the conversation, if I'm enjoying something, I want to stay doing it. I think I was on a good run scoring as well. I think I'd scored, so I'd only scored 1 in my first 10, and then I think I'd scored 9 and 8 or 8 and 10. So I was enjoying it. I was playing me, Gary Taylor Fletcher in midfield, and it was like, he's played in the Premiership, me and him are running. I was just enjoying, a good footballer, and the team, Darla, we were linking up well, Les, Robbie Parrott. It was just a nice, and the lads were great. And it made me realise that, because my second and third year at Llandudno, the pressure that I'd created from doing so well in the first year, and almost Marc has to score, I struggled with that. And then it was like, when I weren't scoring, it was like no one could see. Well, it was like I was having a bad game every week, even if I played well, because I hadn't scored. And I really struggled with that, and I beat myself up with it. I was going home with it, and I was, I felt really down within myself, like as if I was underachieving. And unless I scored, I might as well just, I didn't, no one else said anything else to me. So I didn't feel like I could do anything right. And that just came with the pressure of it. And I started to enjoy it again at Bangor. And the fact that, I was more than happy to just turn up and play because I was enjoying it. And all right, yeah, I needed to get paid, obviously, because there was bills to pay, but it had gone past that. And that's because at the end of my Llandudno third year, I thought about how much do I want it anymore? Do I want, with what had gone on with managers there and things that were said, I just thought, have I seen it all now? Is it time to maybe look elsewhere and just, call it a day? Because it was getting a bit too much to me, and it was getting me down away from football. So to get that moment in Bangor, at the start it was a bit, lots going on, but in the end, to get to where I felt about football again and turn up, and I wasn't getting paid at that point, and it didn't bother me because I was there to play football. And because when I was a kid, I used to turn up and play football and not get paid. And again, when I said about how Llandudno at the start made me fall back, and it was almost like it had done that for me. So when I came to Aber, I was ready then it was like I came knowing I'm going back into the Welsh Prem, and now I'm going to prove to a lot of people who'd wrote me off in the end at Llandudno that I can do it in the Welsh Prem. And well, I've scored 18, 19 and 40 odd games, which is like one in every 2 nearly. So that was my Llandudno record in my first year when I was, Welsh Prem player. So I've almost, proved a few critics wrong, which has been nice. So, and I've enjoyed it. I've loved every minute of being at Aber, and hopefully, I joke that I'm a local. I'll be there when I'm 36. I tell all the young lads that I'll be manager one day. That's why they're nice to me, I think.
Happy days. We'll take that. And as you said there, you've come into Aber, you've been you've been a breath of fresh air, and it was a real coup for us, really, getting you in, as you said, Welsh Premier League Player of the Year. And you made a real difference in the community as well. So we look back to 6 months or so ago, where we were in our first COVID lockdown, and you were raising money for charity, which was an incredible achievement. What brought that on?
Yeah, I just think going into lockdown, and it's, again, in terms of my own personal stuff, my business, the football had stopped, and you're almost, you're going out. We were doing the walk a day at the time, weren't we? And you're going back in, and because I'm active and I'm always out with my job and what I'm doing, I felt almost like, what can I do? And I got that in me. I like, I like raising money. I like doing things for the community, and it came to me. I thought Welsh football. I spoke to Jamie, the reporter, as well, and who's involved in Welsh football, and I said, "What do you think?" He said, "It's a great idea. Why don't you put it across to the league and go from there. And then, I spoke to a couple of captains, and the response was amazing to get the amount off some of the teams. And some of the lads really went a long way in sending that money across, and it was really good. I think we got 6,500 in the end. And what was good as well, it was the Cymru North got involved, the South, the Welsh football. It weren't just North, your Barry, you put kind of bonds, sent so much money towards it, and it was almost just that, a big thanks from Welsh football, for all the work the NHS was doing. And although I set it up, it wasn't from me. It was from us as part-time footballers, really, that this is us saying thank you back. And yeah, the response was great. And and look, ABBA were brilliant in supporting that, and in terms of the board and chairman and people who are the volunteers around the club, and the ladies team, and it was really good. They really did back it, and that was nice as captain. And I think, again, when we talk about being at a football club and being welcomed, I think the way they got behind that, it just shows what type of football club it is.
And that's fantastic answer there. And one thing I do want to talk about, if you don't mind, is something you're doing as on the side away from your job at the moment. You've recently launched gamblingriskitall.com, a website about gambling addiction. If anyone hasn't checked it out, we've attached a link onto this video. It's a fantastic website for anyone who's struggling with gambling addiction, and just to have a read of some of the stories that you've posted on there and some of the help you've given is fantastic. If you don't mind, your own words, how did that come about?
It's come about as, it's something that has affected me, my whole life, really. I think, more so from, late teens, 17, 18. I always had that, I played a lot in arcades as a kid, and, me and my brother, and, that I was involved. I always used to play bingo, and, you kind of, it's what kids do, isn't it? I think every child does. I wrote a blog on that. It's like, is it normal behavior? And it is. Of course it is. I take my 3-year-old to the arcade. She loves it. She smiles. She's so happy. It doesn't mean she's going to be an addict. But, as I got older, then I started earning money and from football, and, I just started gambling, and I have got that personality. I have got an addictive personality, and I've got that compulsiveness in me. So I think the more money I started earning, the bigger the bets came. And yeah, it through my 20s has been a massive struggle with it, really. I got, I've had relationships broken because of it. One just recently as well. So, that hasn't been easy. And I think, I have let, family members down, and, things I've done, and, the amount of debt I got myself into as a 25-year-old. And I had a lot of help from people in terms of putting me, I was working, so many people, got me jobs. I was cleaning toilets, I was in a bar, I was coaching, and, I worked all hours under the sun to get rid of this debt. And you would think that, for how hard it was for 3-4 years doing that would have been it. But unfortunately, it wasn't. I had another relapse 2 years. It's actually 2 years ago on Saturday, and I've got a blog to go with that on Saturday. But it's not a nice addiction. No addiction is, but it is something that I've really struggled with. And I think I've started this now because last 2 years I've done it properly this time. I'd actually gone 5 years without putting a bet on before 2 years ago. But as a gambler, you're only a day away from your next bet. So this time I've gone to GA rooms, and we read the literature. I've listened to people's therapies. You get to say your own therapy, and it's scary how much is going on of gambling. And you'd be shocked, with my Facebook page and the website, how many people get in touch with me that need the help, that haven't got the help. So I remember what it was like going through my worst of it 2 years ago, where it's put me, where the sleepless nights, the lies, the debt. And I'm in a very good place with it now. I'm in a very good place with where I'm at. And I I think it's because you kind of, as a gambler, you do let a lot of people down, and you hear that thing so much of, oh, how have you done that? How have you spent that much? Because if you're not a gambler, or you don't get it, you'll never understand what we go through. The mental health side of it, of what we think. We will generally keep gambling until we hit rock bottom, and I did hit that, and it was tough. But now I'm the other side. I don't want people to go through that. I don't want people to get that far. And, these blogs that I write, they are honest, they are from the heart, because I want someone to, and I've had people read them and then get in touch, and then I can then help them with their recovery, because I don't want them to hit fully rock bottom, because it's a very long road to come back. And I've been lucky enough, I've had amazing family and friends around me. And yeah, like I said, I'm on the other side, and I've got lots in the pipeline regarding the website and moving on in terms of the next chapter of my life, in terms of jobs with the certain companies and things, and it's very exciting. So it seems that I'll be able to give something back, and it's almost, for me, I see it as I'm passionate about it, so I don't want people to have that, to struggle with it, but I also want the people around me who I have let down, I kind of want them to be proud as well that I am helping people.
Well, as an Aberystwyth football club, we are very proud of this work you're doing with it. And honestly, I can say myself, I've read the blog you talking about cleaning the toilets and making the bar, and then saying how you wanted to be the best. You wanted to be the best toilet cleaner. You want to be the best barman type of thing. I can understand that completely. And it was so honest, it was so raw, and it's not something someone who hasn't been through it could understand or put yourself through either. So if that gets help from someone, that's fantastic as well.
And people get in touch and say, "Oh my God, I've just watched your video. I can't. That's where I'm at. What can I do?" And all of a sudden, someone's saying, me and my partner aren't in a good place. I'm not doing what I'm not being the best dad. And by just doing certain things, by watching a video, they've changed their lifestyle, put things in place. And when you get a message 4 weeks on saying, my partner's seen a massive difference, and I am now, I'm investing more in my children. I feel more like I'm in the real world rather than in that false reality, and that then messages mean the world. It's like, I'm glad I've that's helped one family, and that's where I get the buzz from, and that's nice that I can do that.
And I'm sure I speak on behalf of the football club. We will do whatever we can as well to help promote that, to promote your blog, and get people to help you as well. So my final question before we go on to the quick fire now is, you spoke briefly about it earlier on, about being 36 and taking on the manager's role at Aberystwyth. But where do you envisage your football career ending or going from here?
I don't know. I'd probably, I wouldn't know until, with what's going on with COVID. I'm not, in terms of coming back and playing local. I want to stay at Aber really until they're ready to, until I am maybe too old, or if I'm not doing what I have been doing, not scoring goals, creating and things like that. When your legs go, they go, don't they? So when the legs fully go, I might just play a little bit locally. I kind of, at the moment, I think, because I've almost had that second wind of enjoying it again, and I've had a right buzz, that the team environment I love, and I just enjoy it as it is now. I just enjoy every game. So I'm not thinking of next year. I'm thinking of going training next Monday, and I just want to I've enjoyed my career, but like I said, we just spoke about the addiction, and I've got I've got a blog ready to go out actually, called Magic of the FA Cup, and it's basically talking about how I'm more bothered about a big bet that's on my phone than the FA Cup. So that's coming out in the next couple of weeks, but it's nice to turn up, and like at the moment, I'm not scared to say, I do a lot of meditation stuff. I do a lot of stuff that side to clear my mind, and for the first time in a very long time, I feel really happy, and I can turn up and laugh and smile, no pressure. I don't feel under pressure kicking a ball anymore like I have done in the past. I don't feel like I'm worried about anything going on. So I'm kind of just enjoying it at the moment. So where next year takes me, I'm not sure, but I want to enjoy these moments. And, like when when we do get a good draw against TNS, or we go and beat Druids, or a last minute winner and stuff like that, it's like I just really want to enjoy all them moments for maybe some of the stuff I might have missed out on because I wasn't in the right headspace.
Marc, it is so fantastic to hear that you are happy and you're confident where you are at the moment, and thank you very, very much for joining us this evening. Before you head off, we just got a quick fire questions I'd like to ask you before we go. So my first question to you is, who's the best player you've played against and with?
Against? Oh, and it's quick fire. With, I'm going to have to go Aaron Ramsey. From a young age, just thought he was amazing, and he just tried everything that no one else would try, and he wasn't scared. He kept on getting on the ball. He didn't mind. He could have the worst 80 minutes and then have a great 10 minutes. He was so fearless, which I think he plays like that now.
Yeah.
When you watch him, he gives the ball away, he's all right. And I think you've got to have that mentality as a footballer, and that's the difference between the top level. Because they get a lot of criticism, don't they? So you've got to be so strong, a strong character. So as a footballer, he's technically so good. Best player played against? Couldn't tell you off the top of my head, that one. I might have to come back to that. Trying to think of a centre half who's. I remember Williamson. It might have been. He was at Wickham. I think he went to Newcastle. I think I picked him once. But I remember just playing him in. I was only 17 at the time, but he's obviously and had gone higher. But I just remember, I felt a kid against a man. That was how I felt. I remember getting subbed at half time. that's how much he had me in his pocket anyway. So I just remember thinking, oh, this is men's football, and in terms, and he went on to the Prem in the end. So Ashley Williams was another one I remember playing at Stockport. I scored that day, but I remember playing him and thinking then he had all the attributes to go higher. And so what that was more in the League Two centre halves. I'm sure there was centre halves playing for Wales in the 21, but I think they've probably gone on and maybe done they could be great players. I don't know who they are. So
time to drop someone in there. Who's the worst trainer at Arbor at the moment?
Worst trainer? We've got a few keynotes at the moment. Everyone's kind of busy. Everyone's busy in training. I've never seen it like this. Everyone's like, we've got that many players in the squad. Everyone's trying to go, Gav, look. Worst trainer. Not that he's not the worst trainer, but I'll tell you the story instead, because I don't think there is a worst trainer. I think Standard's very good at the moment. But if anyone, obviously, Owain Jones, who come from Swansea, quality player, and again, another one, like I said, with Jamie, you got the ability where he's got enough to play English football, in my opinion. Shame he's been injured, because I think he would have been a real asset to us. Hopefully we'll see him get fully fit now, and no doubt he'll do really well in the Welsh Prem. And he's a great finisher as well. But it was funny because he's been injured, so he's keeping on the chat. He's been he's at the training ground, so he's brought these pink boots, and they're really naughty, these pink boots. So everyone's going, oh bloody hell, pink boots! And you get a bit of stick, as you can't do anything. No. You can't buy anything new. You can't do anything. So he's come out in these pink boots, and he give the ball away. Next minute, and then next minute, give the ball away. I'm like, oh no. And I'm not even exaggerating this, and he'll admit this. I reckon on that evening, if he had the ball 20 times, I reckon he gave it away 18, 19 times. To the point where I just getting in his head in the end. So I was like, you're going to have to take them back, lad. They're not working. But yeah, he won't like me for saying that. But he's a very good trainer and a very good player. But on that particular night, it got a bit funny. In the end, I just had to give him a big hug. I was like, come here, lad. But then he missed the chance to go 3-1 up against TNS. Yeah, I think it was the pink boots.
Yeah. So what's your favourite career in football? Favourite memory in football?
Favourite memory? I'd go to, really. I think the Europa League was something special, and I'll always remember that. And I think playing for your country, and you think of like singing the national anthem and that, I don't speak fluent Welsh. I can speak a little bit of Welsh, but I am a passionate Welsh supporter and player, and to sing the anthem and playing that. I'd pick just playing for my country, and obviously the Europa League would be the two big highlights. Yeah.
So the penultimate question I have for you: sum up Aberystwyth town in 3 words.
3 words. Yoko's. no, not Yoko's. Harry's.
Harry's, yeah.
Harry's my favourite. That's right. That's my B&B, £30. Harry. What can I say? I would say community.
Yeah.
I think all the volunteers like the kitman, Nathan, John, and people around the place, your Tommy Crockett's of the world, and so many people on the board, and it is so many people are together, and I like that about a football club. The people obviously in the bar and that, and everyone's so welcoming. So community would be one. I'm gonna have to say Harry's because I know the lads will be looking. I'm a keen Harry's fan, and
good bar that.
Community, Harry, and community.
We stick with Yoko's.
No, I'd go. Do you know what? I think there's a lot, like, people are happy there, so I'd say quite happy. It's I like being there.
Fantastic.
And I'm happy being there, and there's lots of laughs and lots of giggles and that, and hopefully we can keep that going and get the results right.
Fantastic. My last question for you is: pick your all-time 5-a-side team that you've played with.
See, they're hard, these, because you could just pick players that have gone on to do better, couldn't you? Oh, I'll just do that then. In goal, who was my favourite? In goal. It would probably have to be Hennessy, who's obviously done what he has for Wales. Favourite striker I played with. See, this is weird, because I'm going to go. Although he's obviously not as good as them. But my favourite player I've ever played with in terms of a striker was Jefferson Louis, who is 6 foot odd. He was big, he was strong, but because he was fast when he wanted to be fast, but he was big, he was strong, and we just, when you just have that connection, everything we did, I scored 17, I think he scored 18 that year, and we were like, I was 5'10", he was like that, but it just worked. I just loved playing with him. But I have to have him in my team. But he obviously, I played with better strikers in terms of technical ability, but I'd put him, obviously Ramsey, in terms of being around, seeing him playing. Joe Allen, so Joe Allen, Ramsey, Jefferson Louis up top, so them two can play off him. Yeah. And then we've got Hennessy in goal, and then I'll pick a defender lower. Good defender. I'm not going to pick my brother. I always pick him, so I'm going to change it today. Centre half, I'd probably go Ashley Westwood. He played for Bradford and Dean Saunders, and then Saunders signed him. But he was good on and off the field. But he was a good pro as well, and good. So he'd be my centre half, Ashley Westwood. So.
Marc, I cannot thank you enough for your time this evening. I've really enjoyed listening to this conversation. Thank you all for listening and watching at home. I hope you've enjoyed these, and hopefully it won't be too long till we're reunited at Park Avenue once more. Marc, diolch yn fawr.
Next Monday, the countdown's on.
Diolch, thank you so much, pal.
Say no, thanks.
Ta-ra.
Right.